at 10:05. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Standing Order 10-2 now stands suspended, and the business of the Committee of Supply will continue until I interrupt to adjourn the House. Thank you. The committee is resumed. And again, there are no comments on that head and those pages that I made reference to, page 255 and 256, 57. Any comments on those pages? Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. I just go back to the Minister's response to my comments. To say that Yumi no Garem Staka, Ship Singdani, that statement I think is not factually correct. If you look at the data, we're one of the safest maritime countries over the years. We're much safer than many other countries in the region. And so, Hemi good, this argument to use, safety here, and so to raise him indigenous shipping industry. This one him wrong straight. So the safety argument is an argument you cannot assail. That's why they're using that. But I think it's a false dichotomy to say safety, therefore, but we must also know when you can hold both objectives together. So I'm asking for flexibility for this one. And Sima, time all money Captain Harisemi Staplodea. Mania no man baro Captain Lordship Gogoran in Fuloli. He was so much more understanding and flexible. And him no lower him standards. But him like for Pulumap indigenous shipping for come up. That I think has to be the approach. Him different from Manuem take off from him. Most him stand with him whip no. I don't think that approach has been effective. You must look at him. This one spoil him local boat building industry and local wooden hull vessels. To raise him standards where him go any Hartford man hollow pocket now. So much so that if you talk to any of the indigenous ship operators, they don't have a replacement policy. They may make a profit. It's enough to pay for workman, pay for fuel, and a little bit repair. But time by go ship have written off an order need for buying a new ship. No one, it's not making enough. The margins are so low that they're not making enough. So again, part of that overall economic policy law, maritime transportation has to look at that. We want them to make reasonable margins. That includes replacement. Very important to us. That's the sustainability of the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Comments?
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Thank you for raising those very important points. Yes, definitely I will have a sit down with the director again and see what we can do and how we can also ease it up. In terms of the Aukli Langlanga builders, that's one of the first things that I've inquired about after taking up the position was me ask why na prohibiting or stopping now with the Langlanga boat. And then the response was that they ought not stop them. Or like someone they want some form of drawings of the ship because people blame talo langlanga imi babanga no more so waka house there's no actual drawings there's no marine draft person or ship draft person when drafting notes and these are they would like for understanding no more the design of the ship, how big how not they're not approving no more. So that's one thing we are working with SEMA to see if we can. So we're bringing in someone from Fiji for by start to help him back more or that ship owners blame for him go try to take him no concept of existing ships I mean out work because of Fiji and try and look at how not but make him drawing out of it just for meeting safety requirements. But we do not stop that. And we're looking at promoting it again, but like I think it's a signature not only to Solomons but the whole of Pacific. The boat building here, Langalanga Lagoon, people of Langalanga Lagoon and the people of Solomons. So that's one thing we follow. But as a ministry, we're looking at trying to encourage and revive back we're just looking at how to do that. So him na ligi numa draft man ya drone na boats. But all those points you've raised about the industry and the local industry, we've received those complaints as well, and the ministry is looking at ways in which they can help through SIMA address this with the shipping association. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Any final comments on that before I put a question? Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Very, very small one, no more. And I totally agree with the sentiment where Leader Blow Opposition and Taleme. I think, we need to really look at the way now general legislation that you may put him up, because I think it's creating a lot of disadvantage to our local ship builders here, I must say. You have a KHUI location before and building or some of the big CP2 here, there. No in drawing here, but money go ahead no malo gizo before. Helekai, Hiliboy, but no Champala, and they have been saving this country for almost about 2 decades, ever since, even before we gained independence. But I don't know why not suddenly, this lawyer, I think you me too, but a little bit overlooking too, those restrictions that that lawyer am giving. So in a way, Barrow basically push our local shipbuilders out of that industry. So let's look at how Nababai help them. Instead of stopping Moda, we should come up with some arrangement that can actually lift the motor up. I'm normal with that one. I just want to make a comment. Normal National Transport Initiative here. It's in the report, lawyer, but for fairness, no more because it came out of the report of my committee. That this is for transparency, I must say. And when I look at the recipients in child law here, it's all designated as constituency. So if we go by this rate that we will be saved, Kasem 2028. We would all have a benefit out of this. So as of next year and following year or 2027, people will take it, people no apply more. No more milak talim lo am right? I'm good something here. This is very good. This is excellent. It's good for our constituency, good for our people, and it's good for all the services that we have all, aspired to deliver to our people. But no more. But me like law next year, you will be take finish, no apply. Me will not take but apply more, so that the whole country and me are him normally bit comment when me like I think it is fair for all of us. It is fair for all of us. The fact that it came out of my report, me have to tell him now. So next one year, by Mipal Maring Kokota, and then Istarare, I think maybe you mean by inside more. So Odlo here or take initial Karam Amazon. But it's good. It's a good program. It's a very efficient way of responding to needs of what people believe me. I encourage all of us, to take a fair approach, and then you may deliver this one. Hem no more. No anyone for comment below him. I missed of him now. Finish now. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. You can comment. No,
Thank you, Member of Parliament for Central Honiara and the Chairman of the Public Relations Committee. Points have been noted, and yes, the Ministry is definitely looking at ways in which we can distribute a bit more fair throughout, and that's why I think first time ever in the publishing list law this one over the years, and so we try to be as transparent as we can. So yeah, thank you for those comments, and those comments are well noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Easter Are.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister. I think we fully support them now. Central Honiara here, good one to Masnaya. Equitable distribution is something that we know that you will definitely champion going forward. I was just interested no more, and I would like to hear Vision Blue here, Minister. You were going for this bigger amount in the development, and I got to put you down. I just want you to have this opportunity for explaining what na Vision Blue infrastructure for the next, how many years now? We stop there in terms of Vision Blue, road, shipping, and all of that. I think an opportunity should be given for you a little bit, give him come. How now you're looking towards, of course, our celebration of 50th anniversary and even beyond. An opportunity for you for a little bit explain him come how you look in vision going forward. Mi valo honara happy to masi for focus na lo mi vala. I quite like the idea that you were focusing on certain places. If little bit selen you got him, you toro him lo. Let's say, hey, him para nice. I think next year mo you toro him nara place mo. Those kind of things, mi vala really appreciate him. But Chair, if I can just ask the Minister to a little bit elaborate on vision plan in terms of infrastructure, Los Solomon Islands. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Member of Parliament for East Ararai. Me no expect become television, but by also what manu dream then luluku mo kuara ko liliat. But anyways, thank you so much for the question. And yes, our vision is simple. We want to invest in infrastructure. So I'm not early days of debate there. Time leader of opposition him say, you know what invest them what productive infrastructure focus on social infrastructure first time. Me ba no happy lo problem you I think leader of opposition needs to understand that in order for him building schools, road na has to customer there before him building schools. In order for me building clinics, wharfs and bridges and all of that has to be in place before we build those things. And we can't achieve or build those without these, our infrastructures. And so our vision as a ministry, me and my team is, if I like for me focus a little bit more on here. We believe a good a good road lasts about 10 years in life. That's an asphalt. If it's chip seal, maybe between 5 to 10 years. If it's asphalted, if it's an asphalt road with bitumen, then we believe it will last about 10, 15 years. That's the difference. So if I say, how does it focus every slender, doing good, focus it maybe on 2 years, doing good at the road there. By the time we go Malaita or Makira or Isabel, we do all 9 provinces, we come back, but the road in Honiara is still good yet. So that was what we believe that we try focus a little bit now on Honiara. And not only that, but because we have the 50th birthday coming up, our 50th anniversary of independence, which is a huge celebration for this country. And we'll be having guests from all over the world coming over and to wish us happy birthday and all of that. And you mean like for make sure you prepare too for that one. When they come, or to look at that, this country looks like it's 50 years old. The infrastructure looks like a country that is 50 years old, and that's one of our ministries out. We are tasked in delivering those. Also, with that being said, not forget about provinces here. No, we're also looking at how not for helping out other provinces for prepare too for things as we want to graduate. In LDC, we want to go into statehood or federal government or whatever we decide on in the future. And we want to ensure that all these, and also the special economic zones, we want to ensure that all these provinces, other provinces are equipped. At the moment, if you talk about if you go to statehood or whose infrastructure, there's only 3 islands that normally benefit from infrastructure, and that's Guadalcanal, Western Province, and Malaita Province. And the others have been not really focused on. And that's why for our next year's development budget there, you'll see we're focusing mainly on Isabel, Reno Bellona, Makira, and Temotu in terms of infrastructure. And a little bit of South Malaita for namesake Lomi, because one and only namesake Lomi lo parliament. So me a little bit have to do a little bit infrastructure for him. But we are trying to balance it off and help each and everyone. And that's basically our, and not only that, but we have other issues like the traffic congestions that we're also trying to address. We're trying to link our existing roads, create a connectivity between them so that people can use other alternatives in terms of routes, and also manage the traffic usage management, traffic road management And that's one of our tasks as well. So for us, we want by 2020, Mivala by like for ocean traffic in order. There's patrol going on. We want to start off PWD by just marking roads, hiring our employees full time for marking infrastructure roads, while we look at ways in which we can employ operators. Our ministry is trying to set up an authority, like I've mentioned earlier, so that them say self-funding now to maintenance down the line through fines and all of that. The Land and Transport Authority of Fiji, they spend around 20 million a year, 30 million a year operational cost, and they make around 70 million a year. That's Fijian dollars, and that's something that kind of similar approach where we want, so that never again you may like for say that NTF National Transport Fund is no longer sustainable. So those are things we try to improve. We try to improve the safety of our children as well, and the vulnerable and our people, and that's why we look for implementing policies. We're going to bring in the Road and Transport Act into Parliament as well, so that we set them in more guidelines, regulations for, and also amend the legislations for infringing people, a bit stricter on roads, vehicles that are on the road and roadworthy. And on that note, I'm also happy to announce that next year we'll be partnering with HCC. We'll be providing 4 big school buses. We've converted the Tata buses, 4 of them, into school buses. So it's one of the things about Ranal Highway, just for mainly picking up students. And HCC will be providing that service. And then we will try for student study and how much cost them for maintaining and operating these buses, so that hopefully by 2028 we can put it in our recurrent budget and for operating, and then that no any student or Solomon more by paying bus fare again by 2028. And those are the things that we are also working on as our ministry. So we've also supported the Special Development Center, our children with special needs schools. We are now currently actively helping them in building drainage. We fixed their bus, it's running. We are also procuring a new bus for them next year, fully equipped for disabled children with special needs. So all of that is also, we are also supporting everyone. So that one, our vision is that we want to ensure that people of this country have access to safe and resilient infrastructures, and that's our ultimate vision. And we want to start with areas that are heavily congested and that are biggest revenue earners for the economy, and then we slowly move to other regions of the country. And so that's mainly our vision. But we need all your support. And we thank the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Planning, who has been on board with the ministry's vision. And I need the public support too. To the people of Honiara, I thank you for your patience so far. Me continue for asking for, please be patient with me for a little bit as me for travel sharing. We can't fix all the roads at one time. With 120 million development budget, I can't fix all the roads at one time. But I'm trying my best. We are trying our best. And with the support of our development partners, we are slowly getting there. So I need all your support. So please let's help pass this budget for our ministry to start working. January next year, we will start now. Priority. But Chairman, thank you. That's just a little bit brief of the vision. Thank you so much, Member of Parliament.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Final comments, please, before I put a question. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. Just for me, correct them statement, Minister. Me say that me say invest long social sector, not infrastructure, but those were not my comments. They were not my words. My response was two statements by the Minister of Finance in terms of emphasis to not see health and education as part of the economic equation. So you must hold them in balance. Infrastructure, of course, very, very important, just so it's on the record. So you are forgiven. My only comment with regards to this whole vision law, Minister, sir, is that by 95% local resources by Honiara. So by the time come 50th birthday, Honiara no by will celebrate. I mean, by everyone's okay, big, but we mean him to have good, sustainable, lasting infrastructure. So I think you mentioned that the resources will go to over the provinces, rural areas, but there has to be some equity in terms of that's where the bulk of the resources come. And through economic activity in terms of Ranandi and so forth, Hemlo Honiara. But the bulk of the logs come from outside Honiara. All the minerals come outside of Honiara. All the fish come outside of Honiara. All the cocoa come outside of Honiara. All the copra come outside of Honiara. All the workers come outside of Honiara. So we mustn't get carried away that Honiara is, almost the entirety of Solomon Islands. We have to be careful. Of course, very important, Honiara is, it represents Solomons. And if people come then start kakam lo pothole no more, about garem a lasting impression, lo yumi. So it's important to address Honiara. But, cannot be disproportionate, I suppose is my point. So I'm sure that's already in your thinking, to hold it in balance. And many of our provinces need roads. Isabel, they've contributed so much resource, roads very limited. New Georgia, Rendova, Kolbagara baro nice roads to us. SKFPL wakem. Choizo, South Choizo le man. Every log we kakam lo national economy. Ordinary road, a full Choizo le now. There's some logging roads, but I'm good for you, may go connect. So, those needs, I suppose my point is the rest of the country is supporting the economy in very significant ways. And therefore, we need to also respond to Lohem. So those would be my thoughts for Minister Hemi thinking around him. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you. Yes. So, like I've mentioned earlier, there are other projects like LMCP, CIRAP course that are also focusing on provinces. Our ministry wants to focus on this one. Like I said, 120 million, we have to build in every infrastructure, every province is in a year. It's a bit challenging. So, like I said, we like building every road, every province, everywhere of Solomon, but funds, that's always an issue. But so far, like I've said, the Minister for Finance and Planning has been very supportive. And we are looking at securing a bit more funds to try and see if we can continue to improve not only in the region Honiara, but in the provinces as well. So yeah, thank you. Thank you again, Leader of Opposition.
I will now put the question.
Wait. Last question, Blumilo side, lo plant and vehicle. All kita vehicles where come lo PIF and games last time. What no you will dream now? I mean, some vehicle or tanks now outside. Not full map of water now, but last time from games too, what's happened with all those vehicles?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. So I will not comment on the games because I wasn't here at the time. And but law PIF, there was a cabinet paper that made that a list was prepared as a legacy list. And cabinet endorsed him, so we were distributing the cabinet paper, list is sent to the ministry. We distribute following list below cabinet meeting. And yeah, so mainly the police ones are given to the police. A lot of the highlights were given to the provincial governments, and then the tanks, some are reserved for important occasions where VIP guests will come, which they still need you, and then the others that are given to ministers and chairmen of selected committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, sir. I don't know where I read it or heard it, but I heard that there was a double order for with vehicles, Longo, Kelamoto. One fellow ministerial MID go doing, one fellow special duties SPM now go doing without MID. What's happened? So him access to the needs block PIF at the time. Where is the provision for that? That count for next year, 2026? And what now happened with vehicles inside the cabinet paper too for distribution. And it's an approach that must not happen again. When we're hosting things, there should be some coordination to make sure we're not duplicating kind of big expenditures.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Yes, the beef budget, anything procured under beef, there was a special fund for it. So it was managed by PMO Watana, managing procurement here. Thank you.
So PM finish now?
So there's a payment plan arranged with Elamoto, the supplier, and we are paying following the payment plan.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Yeah, just to re-emphasize my point, you must not repeat him kindly. It's not a good way to approach these events, use them as, and I don't know what authority special duty SPM him garan for this go do him order or some private matter. No, I think also no. So I'm really disappointed in that. Actually, yesterday, someone telling me, no, I think also. So I'm, any future events, I'm good for MID to really jealously guard this fellow responsibility obtaining vehicles on behalf of the government. Whatever special or urgent or desperate or emergency situation is, it must come from MID. So we maintain standards. So very important. Nobody should be above that. Thank you.
Thank you. Noted. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Opposition Leader, and I totally agree with those sentiments. And we are definitely looking at improving our proposition and especially taking a stance and making sure that we do what is mandated by us and not others, have others do it for us. So definitely, thank you so much, Opposition Leader.
Thank you. And taking the Minister's assurance, let me now put the question. The question is that the sum of $54,888,187 for head 10 stands part of the schedule. Those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. The sum of $54,888,187 for head 10 now stands part of the schedule. Thank you. Go straight on to the next head. Our next head is our head 12, that is. National Parliament of Solomon Islands. It is proposed that the sum of $119,625,542 for head 12 stand part of the schedule. If any member wish to make any comment on this head, please refer to pages 266 to 274, the draft recurrent estimates. And for the PAC's findings, please, and recommendations, you can refer to pages 95 to 99 of the report on this bill. Again, as I did this morning, I will take questions based on the pages of the head, and we will begin with page 266. Central Headquarters and Administration, page 266 to 267. Those two pages in regards to Central Headquarters and Administration. Any comments on that head? If anyone wishes to perhaps also refer further to another page, page 268 is Office of the Leader of Opposition. So we'll take those 3 pages, one go for any comments. Thank you. Thank you, Honourable MP for North New Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For page 266, if you look now, 2025 original for salaries public servants, Hemi 4.2 million. But law revised estimate law 2025, Hemi go up to 6.2 million. But then for next year, 2026, Hemi reduce more. Hemi reduce by $1 million. You look at page 105 and 106 of the establishment. The number of staff law Parliament for 2025 and 2026 remain the same. Him remain same, no maya, but salary him reduced. That's the first point. In addition, Mr. Chairman, this year, the Minister for Public Service, the former Minister for Public Service, he signed an instrument of approval for the restructuring and upgrading of staff of parliament. But still, the amount him reduce more. So, the minister responsible him sabi explain him why now him also. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable MP for North New Georgia. The Minister of Finance, Minister of Public Service, where appropriate, you can respond to the observations and comments by the MP for North New Georgia on the issues that he has raised. Operational wise, the public service, or the head 12 is operated under the Prime Minister's office. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister is not here, but those questions, those issues that are raised relate specifically to the public service and to the allocation under the estimates for that provision. Honourable MP for North New Georgia.
Thank you, Chair. Two questions na eh.
Okay.
Me like for first one, him also. Law 2025 revised estimate, the amount for salaries, him 6 million. For 2026, him reduced. But if you look at page 125, 26, law establishment, the number of officers or staff of parliament, him same number, law 2025, 131, and the 2026, 131 too. But salary, him decrease. Why? That's the first question. Any reason why him reduce? That's the first question. The second one now, him in addition to it, after the approval of the restructuring and upgrading law parliament, still salary him reduce more. When him should increase, Mr. Chairman. But again, why? Him no more. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Member Longo North New Georgia, for the question. The estimate Longo 2026, what are basing from the estimate Longo 2025 original. Revised now Longo were increased here. So the value, what are based Longo original 2025. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Honourable MP for North New Georgia.
Mr. Chairman, a response from the Deputy Prime Minister, him not much with him figures and provided. If you look at the number of officers, law 2025, there were 131. Have now establishment, 131 for this year. For 2026, that's next year, by 131 too. The salary and decrease. Have now, the question is, any reason why there is an increase when the numbers are the same? That's part one. Part two, after the upgrading and the restructuring of parliament, salary him still reduce. When him should increase? Why again, Mr. Chairman? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for North New Georgia. Thank you, Honourable Minister of Finance and Treasury.
Thank you, Chair. Let me thank the MP for North New Jersey. In terms of public sector, especially with the classification. Chair, as the policy that the government is taking, especially now, for from what the FCs up here but come under contracts now. That's the policy behind in terms of the public service classification. But in terms of the reduction from increased law revised, in fact, the approach taken, especially sometimes survey also reflect now. Is what one of the indications sometimes I noticed too, to do with supplementary or even with awesome finance. That's a kind of situation sometimes. But I need to be very high on this, especially. But that's kind of a practice or approach sometimes happen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Restructure him in training. First part of him for Yumilo Parliament has already been, the restructure has been approved. First part of him is being implemented. So implementation, and given the contracting arrangements this time from FC go up here, you would expect that my salary go up. And because more positions to him come in or restructure. So, and we were hoping in 2026 there will be quite a significant increase to reflect in now implementation, because I'm starting with 2025, so 2026 next one. So perhaps Minister for Public Service could assist us with this one to explain the reduction when we're actually expecting increased. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, if you can help out here.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm still yet for me determining good clearly what now the reason for this reduction. But I think what Minister had me Finance and we have actually should justify it, but now the reason for that reduction, I think, if you look at the budget of 2024, the $4 million, there was an increase along revised one of 2025. Then again, you also see the reduction of 2026 budget that have shown that. The expenditure about 2025, the actual 2025 now will actually determine this sort of budget for 2026 year.
Thank you. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest you may go passing first time this one, leaving Prime Minister come back tomorrow. You can get a more accurate information, because it's obvious that no one has the accurate information, and then you may deal with it tomorrow after Prime Minister arrives, so we get a good, solid response.
Chairman, so and the other additional thing is we just get information from PS number that contracting for senior public servants law Parliament name delayed for next year. I think that's really the reason.
Well, that just merely affirms this quagmire we're in. If it's confirmed for next year, we expect increase, not reduction. But let's not beat around for this one. We can't get definitive answers. You may run in the dark, so I'm good for Prime Minister come. If I'll brief him good, and then tomorrow you may deal with him. I'm small one no more, so 5 minutes you may pass him. Also.
Our standing orders, of course, we are guided by the standing orders in the consideration of this, the Committee of Supply and its heads. I'm not sure whether we can invoke provisions with standing orders to allow us to postpone consideration of a head because the minister responsible for this is not here. I'm not sure whether, with the indulgence the chairman can invoke that arrangement to allow a temporary postponement of consideration by the committee of the state until the minister responsible to some of the questions that are being raised initially here may not be addressed by the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Public Service. But the discussion of this was to do with the Office of the Prime Minister, who are dealing with the offices of the National Parliament. I hope that the decision that the committee will take will not be challenged in any way, that by virtue of this matter being brought to the attention now, we have to dispose of it without having to postpone it for now consideration when the substantive minister responsible is present. Any comments on that observation or any objections? Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister.
As I have earlier explained, if you look long budget allocation long 2025 law original, having 4,252,787. So the revised now have got 6 million. So they calculate 10% on that to get to that 5 million. And then any adjustment there by supplement number cover that one. That one explanation here. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, if that was an explanation for any other allocation, I'm all right. We're dealing with emoluments, and because restructure here, also Minister of Public Service and Italian 2026 now, we got the second part of him implemented restructure. Him a little bit big restructure this one. House committee him involved Lohem as well. So we were kind of hoping that allocations matching. It's obviously it can go to a supplementary, but because we're dealing with salaries below officers, they would need to be paid when they're employed. So that would be an issue. That is an issue.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Leader of Opposition, and of course, Leader from question was raised earlier. I think the understanding here, especially in terms of the 2026 estimate, because like the Minister of Public Service mentioned it, so any additional because of the delay, like towards end of year or before middle of year, so it will cover any supplementary. That's the understanding. With like if because the understanding now by a bit of delay yet, so you mean by guarantee for any additional increase, but still cover the supplementary. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, but delay this year. Delay go for next year. So if you want like delay more and next year more, you need travel more. But you need delay go no more. I'm supposed to come last year, but so this year delay go for next year on along the same kinds of arguments. Oh, you mean no enough allocation, so you mean put them for next year. But if by next year more, you mean delay for second half. Right, something you push them back more now. That's the issue we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, Honorable Minister of Finance?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you. Yes, that's of course the situation, but the understanding in terms of especially the difference from the degrees for 2026 waiting the 2025 year, because once we reach like before probably mid next year, depending on the process of the supplementary, that should be covered because of the timing, because this any additional, I'm still by Cavallo next year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Perhaps as Chairman of PAC, whether this was at all brought up during the consideration by the PAC on the submission for this head.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we did inquire about this, and the reason that has been given was that the public services actually decided to freeze him now certain amounts that has, or figures that have been given to other ministries because of the Sinta issue. We have a huge bill that has to be sorted out with Sinta, yeah? And so that explanation that the Minister of Finance has made, I'm correct that, hoping that towards the middle of next year, we should be able to have the supplementary to supplement now any shortfall. But the priority that the government has indicated was to sort out the Sinta issue, lower education. So there are quite a few heads that got affected out of that. So hopefully, if Minister of Finance, you were able to planning things well and get us, through to some kind of a supplementary next year, then I think your, the Parliament vote would be supplemented by then.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, PAC. So on that understanding, of course, therefore, that we can still dispose of what is allocated currently under the estimate with a view that the shortfall will be catered for through a supplementary next year, if indeed, of course, the money will be spent only to the extent that if there are deficiencies, then of course you have to come in with a supplement to top up the balance as estimated in 2026 because of the arrangements that have been agreed to, the scheme of service between the public service and the National Parliament. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. As you are aware, our contract positions too were cut, 2.7 million cut from Parliament submission. So that just adds to the overall picture. This was reduction, and then contract bid too was also cut. You all must not treat in Parliament also. Parliament, and through you all cabinet, you're the executive, cabinet is the executive. Then you all wait in Mival, you meet Parliament, and of course the services in Parliament helps to serve us all. But Parliament is independent from you, executive, although you're derived from Parliament. Respect Parliament, so Parliament can do its work more robustly, and to do that we need the services of professionals who tender support, advice and analysis and all that kinds of things. We're wanting to build a modern Parliament. So you all must support him. You all not treat him as a ministry below women. Yeah, it's not a ministry where you may look down on him, no give selen him to you. You may treat him as a bar or no important now. And I'm not saying continue to treat them like that. No, they shouldn't be treated like that either. But don't treat Parliament as I just feel like we treat Parliament with contempt, that we can just trifle with it or leave him go all same time. But you may find themselves behind, and we may not find it. So I want to register my utter disappointment on this score that Parliament's bid could be cut for contract positions here, because we want senior people to be able to give PS level advice. That's what we're looking for. And also, of course, then the restructure is now postponed again. You may be discussing this one last year for budget for this year, and it was postponed. Well, now the same argument is being made as if you've forgotten all those discussions that we had this year's budget last year. So I am very disappointed in that, Mr. Chairman. I was hoping the PM would be here because he gave some assurances last year when we were discussing this matter. But obviously, he hasn't kept his word on these commitments. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and I acknowledge the sentiments stated by the Leader of Opposition and well taken into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. And, I do acknowledge, like the Prime Minister has mentioned, the concern and, of course, the disappointment of the leader of opposition. In fact, it's not like we treated Parliament as a separate arms of, but the thing let's come back to the earlier discussion of I think that's a way forward for us to see how to separate financing the budget, which is executive now, sort of a decision making in relation to Parliament or even Sin Office or Office of Independence. So that's probably something to look at in terms of going forward. But in terms of this kind of adjustment with understanding, now not only with Parliament but across the public sector, the intention mainly because it's around 31 million. In fact, was on understanding to once law supplementary ban comes, because I may also include because it's a kind of arrangement rather than you may put this kola no more kola more mainly about people of some super scale or much more no more by benefit from it, because of once you may go down by of course increase load there, but then bar was load. So the idea for supporting the whole everyone in terms of some for incentives with including annual leave or some kind of which is a little bit helpful, especially lot Wakaman law government. So that's it. And it's cost like 31 million, and it's a priority based on understanding that okay, we hope to do it once the supplementary by middle of next year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you. So the reforms envisaged under Longo New Public Service Act where you meet as passing, very good. Continue with those once classifications have been finalized. That one very good. My disappointment is we have fiscal space. And when we do have fiscal space, if you treat him Parliament with the respect it deserves, give him allocation. You may treat him as and just another ministry. It's not just another ministry. We have, obviously, we're hoping you work harder next year and more bills come, but we need to deal with, when we come to committee, we'll talk more about it, we need to deal with the mineral resources bill. We want some good advice, some good technical advice, and of course also legal drafting advice and all kinds of something else. So that's going to require good expertise in our staff to be able to do it. Time motor reports come, you meeting him, ME is small something, and you follow executive have advice to qualified people as permanent secretary, deputy secretary, and so forth. And you have funds for consultants, and also Parliament doesn't have those. And so when we ask you, and you say, hey, no, Parliament should have its own vote. And now sometimes you will tell them, but then you knock back budget bids. And most of you knock them back, and then you argue to us that, oh, you should have your own vote. Let me a little bit self-defeating for us. So if we treat these bids, especially from Parliament and Judiciary, because they are the two arms of our government system, then I think then it would augur well overall for us. I note the explanations Finance ME, Talembata, like says, when we do have fiscal space, we should have done it. We could have done it, but the choice was made not to do it. You could have done the Parliament one and postpone it for next year, or another one. Part load is for 30 million. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition. Just for a point to note, see, we are voting, we are considering a schedule to the appropriation bill. If, for example, there was a change, of course you have to move an amendment, okay? And the amendment has to be considered by the committee, right? So who puts that amendment? For example, if the minister responsible arrives here and is convinced, then of course we'll have to go through all these amendments. So it will affect the whole whole appropriation schedules. So the issue is, if you fall back on what the Minister of Finance said, that's how you could address it, instead of putting the pressure on amending the provisions of the schedule. The schedule here is, for example, the allocation of the National Parliament. It will have to move it up. If you move that through an amendment, no problem, but it will affect the whole thing. And then these were the whole consideration by the ministry. In terms of the revenue that is going to forecast to support the budget, then you have a problem. But the easy way out is vote on it as it is now, and any shortfalls, you bring it through a supplement when it is due. That's an opening, because my concern is, from the concern of the chair, is that if we want to vary this, then an amendment has to be moved to the committee. And who is to move that amendment? It's the minister responsible, okay? The minister responsible is the Prime Minister, okay? So he'll have to vary the schedule to this bill on head 12, right? Which means the whole variation will take place again, instead of we waiting until through a supplementary process. Ting ting no more, Mr. Leader of Opposition.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, an amendment has to be moved here.
Yeah, an amendment would have to be moved, ideally by a finance minister, because I'm Bill Blohemia, not by the Prime Minister. But any member can move an amendment on a matter. And I suppose right now I'm not saying we move an amendment. It'd be nice if we agree. I mean, actually, it's you making it sound as if it's so complicated. It's not. If one amendment and total blow that head by and change, and then grand total or down change, it's no big deal. If there was the will to do it, it can be done. But we've already accepted the explanation by Minister of Finance that by me take come supplementary. But make sure him something you will totally move from, you will take him, you will take him, you will not do it. And this is one of them.
Thank you.
Because last year Prime Minister make out assurances. Thank you.
And if it was identified in the Public Accounts Committee report, it would have been contained in the recommendations for an amendment to this. There was none.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, we've made that generally as an observation towards the end. And we have expressed our concern in the same manner in which the Leader of Opposition have echoed. That why is it that Parliament has to be treated like that? We were quite pleased with the treatment that had been given to National Judiciary. They were given quite a favourable response to their bid. But with Parliament, we thought that there are rooms to be able to sort this out. One is through the supplementary, and of course, there are other contingency arrangements, that can be made as well too. Environment can be made out of the Ministry of Finance and so forth. So, the budget officials have indicated that there are fiscal space to do it. But I think the deeper thing that I think we should be talking about is and should be thinking about going forward into the future is, as we approach that 50th anniversary, is how we're going to deal with the autonomy of these two executive arms of government here, the National Judiciary and Parliament. And I think one of the recommendations that, well, it's not a recommendation, but one of the observations that we made was that I think Parliament should start thinking about having its special fund like that. And I think we were talking about how that process of making the special fund should be made so that it is not treated quite generally and unnecessarily by the executive, when it comes to it. But a proper arrangement should be made to be able to establish special fund, not only for Parliament and the National Judiciary, but even other major departments as well, like education, health, and so forth. Even Manvim just go out and MID with a very beautiful brand idea that he has about running the infrastructure of the country. I think that's the way to go here. So if we take a decisive decision, and this is really up to the Minister of Finance to make it. To do that, I think Parliament won't go through this kind of a hiccup again next year. But I think there are, is what you've said, and I think the message that the Leader of Opposition has expressed, we have shared that in our consideration during the committee as well. But the options are there, supplementary and of course possible YMH as well too. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair PAC. Any final comment? And the Honourable MP for North New Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For easy no more way going forward, maybe the minister responsible, him just confirming, one, that the restructuring and upgrading Blue Parliament have not factored in the budget. That is one. Two, Potalim Yumi, when Baba have factored in 2026, and three, how Baba have factored. I think if those are answered, I think Baba Yumi go na ya, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister for Finance.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, of course, the as well recommendation from the PAC and the MP for noting. In fact, Chair, I take it that by something to address it even without supplementary notice, and not big too much. I think the message that from the opposition, of course, the treatment of which we, and we also part of public service, the concern raised that, and so the point really noted. But in terms of addressing this, and then even if supplementary or private bank and possible this, and not big too much for by something short, then I'm sure that we can deal it, even if. But the need for supplementary, of course, the additional from public service, which is and also including Parliament. That's the concern that the leaders of how executive also put Parliament under. So that's the message that we noted, which is should not like that one. So I think. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister of Finance. I think it's recorded in our proceedings that the way forward is as proposed by the by the Minister for Finance and Treasury. We all agree? Thank you. Chairman has the final say. Yeah, thank you. So we go straight on to the next pages. There are two pages that in the Office of the Leader of Opposition and the Office of the Independence Office. Any comments on those two offices and those pages? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't want to. I think Pulau Leader and Tubal Leader all right no more. Tubal all right no more.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
just on the this restructuring the Parliament here, I think we need to. I don't know what's the thinking, Law Minister of Public Service, and then coming back to the classification that in the Public Service Act here. I think we need to, as we are pushing ourselves towards, some meaningful upgrading of the autonomy of Parliament, there needs to be some work done, coming up with some kind of a scheme of service, maybe for Parliament, I must say. Like the Foreign Service Scheme, accounting cadre scheme, kind of thing. Because we cannot continue to deal with Parliament ordinarily like OSM or the other, just routine public service here. Parliament is a very, very important, and we need to raise the standard. Yeah, raise the standard and then pitch the kind of requirement that we want to a very high standard, the human resource capacity resourcing of Parliament like that. We need really highly qualified people. I mean, for Parliament to be able to serve, the people of this country, the elected leaders of this country, that's the kind of focus that we should be aiming towards. So, and I know that the House Committee and others have been talking about this, possibly through your office too, Mr. Chairman. But I think we need to move quickly to work on it. I think that's the agency here now, leader and what others here have continued to express in this chamber. I also want to join them in so doing and get some idea from the Minister of Public Service if we can, get our acts together and then put some, serious action in developing a scheme for Parliament now. I must say, we need quality people to be here to be able to serve our elected leaders, the elected representative, comfortably. I must say, and whilst on that note too, say, you see, some Parliament. Normally, Speaker him refer normal like for instance in Papua New Guinea, when he seeks advice, no seek him advice lo Attorney General. Lo here you continue for ask him Attorney General of no more. I think you should stop for ask him Attorney General every time. You should ask him na couscous lo PNG they call them couscous claque so you should be asking more from your clerk. Because, and that's why we need to really lift in the standard long staffing here in Parliament here. Sometimes, we ask the Attorney General, "Mahem tu mana advising or man nar saiti." They am advising me merwan in chat here, but advising almost everyone lo yumi tu. Me, so name no street here. I'm no street. Other Commonwealth Parliament. What no or same you milo here too much now. Anything ask go him no more. Go him to advising mod man there, advising mod man outside lo there, advising mod all of it. So that is why it is important that we need to work on this. The scheme specifically for Parliament, that's my point. Sorry now me take him go, but I really wanted to help Parliament. We must move towards, the building of that autonomy roadmap for Parliament. No more. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair of PAC and MP for Central Horner. Your comments are fully taken into account and on record as the basis for which the way forward will be pursued through exploring the various comments. And of course, the leader has left, but what we can learn from is the Parliament of Nauru, who's gone independent through a legislative law that establishes the independence of the Parliament. Those are the options that we can consider and also explore with other parliaments with similar stance and position on how they got to that extent. This has been brought up for the information of the committee, highlighted in the proceedings of the Parliament Speakers and Clerks Conference, which we have attended in the past year. So that's now in the process. So the recommendations, if you see in the public accounts report on this head, actually point towards that direction. It's a work process. So it's not going to just be done immediately. There are a lot of research will have to be done to consider these options, because while this is a standard one, custom, culture in Solomon Islands is different from those. So we cannot copy and cut and paste what is happening in other jurisdictions. We have to base it on our own setting on that note. So we fully take cognition of the observations, leader, and as perhaps to a certain extent highlighted in the Public Accounts Committee report. Any further comments on this head, on the pages? I think, as you said, the Office of the Leader of Independent and Opposition are well captured there. The other page I'd like us to refer to is the Parliament Sessions Committees. And this is the work of parliamentary committees. Because what comes here depends on the capacity and the deliverability by the mandate charged with the various committees report here. And that's one of the weaknesses that has been weak with us, the observation. So strengthening the parliamentary committees means allocation of resources under Parliament for them to engage with stakeholders and report back to Parliament. And I think this is, if you look at page 273, scope is the allocation for the work of standing committees. Let me just introduce it that way. Thank you, Honourable Chair of PAC.
Thank you, Chairman. I could not agree more to what you have stated. It's absolutely important that this is the subhead that basically deals with the main machinery that supports information into this chamber, and that is the Select Committee. And if you look at it, we have asked during our inquiry what was the bid. I think the bid that was made was much higher than this, but then this is what has been given, and therefore we got basically caught ourselves in a situation where resources have to be cut back on some of these very important tasks. But I think the point that you have raised, say, is very important, and I think all of us in this chamber should have noted that the committee that Hemi serve in Parliament, and provide important analytical assessment to help in the debate in the plenary here in this chamber is through this committee like that. And if we under-resource them, they are going to underperform as well too, like that. So, Minister of Finance and also you, Deputy Prime Minister, I just want to register that point on behalf of the PAC, and also I'm sure that all of us that have been involved in some discussion on the reform that our parliamentary team here have gone through the various select committee, have tried to promote. We want to ask you that, next year, please give some consideration on this. Other committees are going to, take a tour around the country, and instead of resorting to the government for resourcing, we will start asking UNDP no, or why should we ask UNDP? We should be asking our own government. I mean, we should be resourcing our own child like that. Yeah? So I think on that note, say I just want to really support the comment that you have made, and then make that as a point to be recorded in this House that we should consider this. If you look at it, Hembara empty straight here, all other committees, except for our lounges, normal there, but to really get ourselves, to move around. I mean, the resources are basically so thin. We need to get access to some, professional advisors and other consultancy services to be able to guide our and support, provide technical support and expert advice to the committee as well too, like that. So I personally, as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, I would want to urge Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister of Finance, please, think seriously about this next year. If we have to put our request, this has to be included in some urgent provisioning lawfully. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Chairman PAC. Any other comments on that? Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. And I do thank and acknowledge the observation from Chair of PAC. In fact, that's way forward in terms of resourcing Parliament and, of course, our constitutional institution. That's something that we ourselves, in terms of resourcing them, it's important. I think that's an area that I also raised with not only the committee, including Office of Auditor General, and of course that needs. We noted that, and of course, once the budget process, especially for resourcing Parliament, the concern also raised earlier. So I think that's something that the government seriously look at to consider the recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister of Finance. Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you, Chair. And just to lend support to the Chairman of the PAC as Chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. Definitely, we appreciate the slight increase there, but we would still want to ask that it's much more substantive, given, as the Minister just mentioned, the links to the Constitution through the standing orders, which sets out the terms of reference to all our 10 committees under your guidance, Mr. Chair. So I think it's only fair to say that we would have wanted definitely more, and the idea of us always going out to look for funds outside is something that we should try and avoid doing, as already mentioned by the PAC. So definitely support this, and the only thing is that we would have wanted more, but there's always next year, so we look forward to that as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Arare. No further comments. Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, Sir. I think the sentiments said by the MP Blongo Centro Honira and the Chairman Blongo Accounts Committee, as well as the East Arare, is very important. There's been discussion within the government for giving more autonomy Longo Parliament, but then we will have to show, and all your sentiments is well taken into consideration. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. And with those comments, let me now put the question. The question is that, sorry, Honourable MP for North Georgia.
Point of order, no more, Mr. Chairman. Before you put in question here, I seek your guidance whether or not this wala committee by me garing that wala number for voting now. This wala schedule, part of the schedule, yeah? Because it is a bill, because we don't have the quorum. Guidance bla yun naman mi like niya. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, MP for North New Georgia. Indeed, I think it was on Friday we were only resorted to that because of the importance for having the quorum to cast a vote on this and to refer it ultimately to the conclusion of the deliberations of the committee. I'll seek your indulgence. I thought, of course, the point I made Monday was that, on Friday was that, yeah, we began with a quorum. It was said no, but precedence has happened, and therefore we'll have to suspend the proceedings because we don't have the quorum. That has been, so with that, the indulgence, I think to repeat that, and thank you for bringing that up, otherwise I would have called the consideration of this head. Although we have already, we can vote on it when we resume the committee resumes its proceedings. So with the indulgence, I will now interrupt the proceedings of the committee, and Parliament will resume. Thank you, honourable members. In accordance with the resolutions that we took on earlier this afternoon, we'll now adjourn Parliament until 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, 9th December 2025.